How to stay open to connection without getting hurt. Have you ever sat in a room full of people, family, friends, even your own children, and still felt invisible? Like your voice doesn't carry the same weight it used to, or your presence just blends into the background? It's a strange kind of loneliness, isn't it? Not the kind where you're physically alone, but the kind where you wonder if anyone truly sees you anymore. As we get older, many of us carry this quiet ache. We've lost people. We've had friendships fade, loved ones pass, and sometimes, trust broken. After enough of that, it's tempting to pull back, to say, I'm better off keeping to myself. Less risk, less pain. And honestly, that instinct makes sense. When your heart's been bruised too many times, the last thing you want to do is offer it up again. But here's the thing. While pulling away might protect us from hurt, it also starves us of the very thing we need most, connection. Genuine, warm, human connection. The kind that reminds us we matter. That we're still part of something. Still loved. Still needed. Staying open doesn't mean throwing yourself into the fire. It's not about being naive or pretending people can't hurt us. It's about learning how to open the door just wide enough to let the light in, without letting the storm blow through. Let me share something with you. A woman I know, let's call her Elaine, lost her husband to cancer after 42 years of marriage. She was heartbroken, of course, but more than that, she was scared. Scared of being alone. Scared of being pitted. She told me, I didn't know who I was without him. And I didn't know how to start over at 70. For months, she avoided people. She stopped going to her knitting group. Stopped answering calls. Even her own daughter couldn't reach her. She told herself she was just tired. That she needed rest. But really, she was afraid. Afraid that if she stepped out into the world again, she'd be reminded of what she lost. Or worse, that she'd feel even lonelier in a crowd. But one day, a neighbor knocked on her door. Just a quick visit, bringing over some cookies and asking if Elaine wanted to join the local book club. Nothing pushy. Just an open hand. And after much hesitation, Elaine said yes. She didn't speak much that first meeting. Just sat there, quietly listening. But something inside her shifted. Not because someone said something profound, but because for the first time in months, she felt seen. Now, she's the one organizing the monthly meetups, hosting them in her living room. And she told me something that stuck with me. I thought I was closing the door to pain, but I was also closing it to life. See, protecting your heart doesn't have to mean locking it away. It can mean choosing carefully, setting boundaries, listening to your instincts. But it should never mean shutting out the world completely. One of the gentlest ways to stay open, without risking overwhelm, is to start small. Maybe it's saying hello to a neighbor. Maybe it's replying to that old friend's message, even if you're not sure what to say. Or maybe it's showing up to that Sunday group again, not because you feel ready, but because part of you still wants to believe in people. And that part of you? It's still alive. Still hoping. Still courageous. Another thing to remember is this: not every connection has to be deep or life-changing. Some people might be in your life for just a season, a conversation at the park, a shared cup of coffee, a laugh in the grocery store aisle. Those moments matter, too. They remind you that you're part of something bigger. That there's still joy to be found in the everyday. You don't have to explain yourself to everyone. You don't have to spill your story to strangers or pretend to be someone you're not. Being open doesn't mean being exposed. It means being available to kindness, to laughter, to the simple warmth of being acknowledged. Sometimes, the best connections are the quiet ones. A nod from across the room. A smile from a stranger. A dog walker who remembers your name. These small threads, when woven together, create a safety net. One that holds you up when life feels heavy. And let's talk about trust. It's easy to say trust takes time, but the truth is, trust takes courage. Especially after 60. Especially after loss. especially when the world feels like it's moving on without you. But here's the thing, you've lived through more than most. You've weathered storms, raised families, loved deeply, lost deeply. That wisdom? That experience? It's not a weakness. It's your strength. It's what helps you tell the difference between someone who's genuine and someone who's just passing through. You get to choose who enters your space. Who earns your trust? Who gets the privilege of your presence? That's power. That's freedom. That's staying open, but not unguarded. And maybe that's the real secret. Staying open doesn't mean throwing the door wide open for anyone. It means learning how to open it just enough for the right ones to find their way in. It's strange, isn't it? How sometimes the people we thought would stay forever are the ones who leave. And the ones we never expected to care end up surprising us. Life doesn't always follow a neat storyline. Friendships evolve. People change. Even we change. And that's okay. The goal isn't to hold on so tightly that we lose ourselves, but to learn how to hold things lightly, with grace. Let me tell you about Henry. He's 74, retired for almost a decade, and he used to be one of those don't need anyone types. His wife passed away years ago. His kids live in different states. He told me once, I'm used to being alone. I've made peace with it. But that wasn't the full story. What he really meant was, I'm scared to try again. He'd been hurt. Once, he opened up to a new friend, someone he trusted, only to be used, taken advantage of. That left a scar. So, he built a wall. High and strong. He said it kept him safe. But it also kept out birthdays, barbecues, laughter, silly jokes, warm hugs, all the little joys that make a life rich. Then something shifted. His neighbor's granddaughter started visiting for the summer. She'd come over in the afternoons and sit on the porch with him. No pressure. No deep conversations. Just a girl and an old man, watching birds and sipping lemonade. And slowly, something softened in him. Not because she said anything brilliant, but because she didn't expect anything from him. She was just there. That's the magic of human connection. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes, it's just being near someone who sees you and doesn't ask you to be anything other than yourself. Henry said something beautiful the last time we spoke. He said, I didn't think I needed anyone. Turns out, I just didn't know how much I missed being needed. You see, we're not meant to be islands. We're wired for warmth. We're built for bonds. And even if we've been hurt before, that doesn't mean we're broken. It just means we've learned what matters. One gentle way to reconnect with the world without putting yourself at risk is to practice something I like to call low-stakes vulnerability. What that means is, you don't have to share your whole heart all at once. Start with a smile. A compliment. A light story from your week. Give people a glimpse, not the whole picture. Let them earn your trust, piece by piece. You might be surprised at who rises to meet you. And when someone disappoints you, and yes, it will happen, remember this, their behavior says more about them than it does about you. You didn't mess up by caring. You didn't make a mistake by being kind. Kindness is never wasted. Connection is never foolish. What matters is that you stay true to who you are. Another important piece of this puzzle is learning to forgive without forgetting. Forgiveness doesn't mean allowing someone back into your life. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It simply means choosing peace over poison. Choosing to stop carrying a burden that was never yours to begin with. When you forgive, you don't let them off the hook, you let yourself off the chain. And if you've ever blamed yourself for being too sensitive, let me tell you something right now, sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a gift. It means you feel deeply. Love deeply. Care deeply. In a world that can be cold and cruel, that is something to be proud of, not something to hide. You can stay open and protect yourself. You can be warm and wise. These things are not opposites, they're companions. It also helps to have boundaries. Not walls. Boundaries. A wall says, no one comes in. A boundary says, you're welcome here, but here's how I need to be treated. Boundaries are love, for yourself and for others. They teach people how to treat you. And when someone crosses them, it's okay to walk away. You are not obligated to stay in spaces that shrink you. And here's something I hope you hold on to: you are allowed to choose again. To try again. To love again. There is no expiration date on new beginnings. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, your heart still beats. That means your story isn't over yet. One step, one hello, one small act of courage at a time, that's how connection is built. Not in grand gestures, but in the gentle decision to show up, even when it feels easier to hide. Even if you've been hurt before. Even if trust feels fragile. Even if the world feels a little distant right now. You still matter. You still belong. And the world needs the wisdom you carry, the stories you've lived, the laughter that only you can bring. So, take a breath. Let your shoulders soften. Open the door just a little. You never know what warmth might be waiting on the other side. Sometimes it's not the big betrayals or heartbreaks that close us off, it's the little cuts that add up over time. The friend who stopped calling. The invitation that never came. The silence after you opened up. These moments don't always make headlines in your memory, but they settle in your chest like pebbles in your pocket. Small, but heavy. And if you've ever told yourself, maybe I just care too much, please know this: caring is not the problem. The world needs more people who care. What we sometimes need to learn is how to care without losing ourselves in the process. That begins with checking in, gently, honestly, with yourself. Ask, is this connection giving me energy, or draining it? You're not being selfish for wanting relationships that feel balanced. You're being wise. At this stage in life, your time, your peace, and your presence are sacred. Protecting them is not a sign of weakness. It's a form of strength. I once met a woman named Ruth at a community garden. She was 83, and she had the brightest eyes I'd ever seen. When I asked her the secret to staying open to love, she smiled and said, I treat people like wildflowers. Some are meant to bloom near me. Some are meant to pass by. But I still stop to notice the beauty, even if it's just for a moment. That stayed with me. You see, when we stop expecting every person to stay, we free ourselves from disappointment. When we stop tying our worth to how others treat us, we gain power. And when we remember that connection can exist in fleeting, tender moments, not just in lifelong commitments, we open ourselves to so much more beauty. Even the small things matter. A stranger holding the door. A neighbor waving from across the street. A cashier who remembers your name. These aren't accidents. They're threads. And when you let yourself notice them, those threads start to form a web that reminds you, you're still part of this world. You're not too old. You're not too complicated. You're not too late. And if there's a voice inside your head saying otherwise, maybe the voice of an old wound or a bitter experience, I want you to hear my voice louder. You are worthy of connection exactly as you are. You don't have to pretend to be younger. You don't have to earn your place. You don't have to overgive, overexplain, or overextend. You just have to show up in your truth and trust that the right people will see you. Not everyone will. That's true at any age. But when you lead with your light, the right ones always find their way. You're allowed to be cautious. You're allowed to take your time. And you're allowed to open up slowly, in your own way. But don't close the door completely. Don't let the fear of being hurt rob you of the joy of being seen. There's still so much life left in you. So many conversations to be had. So many hands to hold, even if just for a moment. So many laughs waiting to be shared over tea or toast or a memory from years ago. And if today, connection feels far away, that's okay. Start small. Start with yourself. Treat your own heart the way you treat a dear friend. Gently. Kindly. Without judgment. Then, when you're ready, step outside. Smile at someone. Say thank you and mean it. Compliment the clerk at the pharmacy. Send a message to that friend you've been thinking about but never got around to calling. Tiny steps. That's how the heart learns to trust again. And if no one's told you lately, I see you. I admire your strength. I honor the tenderness it takes to even think about opening up again after being hurt. You're not alone. There's a whole world still waiting for the warmth you carry. So if you found this video helpful, share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what's been on your heart. What helped you stay open, even when it was hard? Or maybe you just want to say hello. That counts too. And if this message meant something to you, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. We're building a space where being real, being gentle, and being human is always welcome. Here's to staying open, on your terms, in your time, and with all the courage your beautiful heart can hold. You've got this. And we're right here with you.